And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Hey folks, I'm Tom Vasel and welcome to a look at SteamRollers. This is a game that actually, we got this game last year and the box was so boring looking that not this box, was the original box, that I just never got around to reviewing it. I was like, a train game, it's all brown, the whole thing, Had I opened the box and had I seen this very brightly colored sheet inside it, I would have been much more impressed and tried it out. It's also what we call a roll and write game. A game where you're going to roll dice and use that to write things down on a pad. Think Yahtzee if you've ever played that. But this is actually quite a bit different than Yahtzee. I'll show you. So in this game, you're going to place the map here, and you're going to randomly place cubes out on each of the areas. There's 6 cities on the board, but you're going to, if you pull a cube that matches the color that is on that area, so let's say I pulled a blue cube here, it's pulled off. So the number of cubes on the cities is going to be variable. Each player is going to get a sheet that will match the map exactly. And so you're going to take this, and then players are going to start the game. Now there's some optional modules in the game. I'll explain them at the end, but you might as well play with all of them. But as the game progresses, each turn someone's going to be going first, and when it happens, you're going to roll number of dice equal to the number of players plus 1. So let's say it's a 4-player game. I can roll these dice. So I get a 2, 2, and 2 twos, 2 5s, and a 6. You're also rolling this train track die, which is going to show a straight, sharp curve, or a medium curve. It's going to show 2 of the 3 different possibilities. Then each player in turn order is going to draft one of these dice using that die to do something. So one thing you can do is, let's say I draft the number 2 die, I can draw a track in the number 2 territory. That's the red territory here. The track that I can draw must be one of these 2 here. I don't have to connect tracks. I can build up different areas. And as the game goes by, you're going to be building it so you have different tracks connecting the areas. You can't build more than 1 track per area, and you have to connect, obviously, to the cities through the different spots that are on them. You can also connect to these towns by going through them, and the different towns will then become part of the route. So that's one thing you can do. You can also upgrade your train. So you can upgrade your train and have your train become another level, and that just has to match the die that's rolled. You can also take one of these special tiles here. Now these special tiles are placed here at the beginning of the game. There's actually 2 sides to them, and so the side may change based on what you take. So for example here, if I take this one, that means as long as I hold this tile, and I need to use a 4 to take it, as long as I hold this tile, my train level is actually 1 higher than everybody else. This one here, I can add or subtract 1 from my die. Now, if you hold these tiles at the end of the game, they're going to be worth either positive or negative points. This one here lets me always flip a die to the other side or re-roll a die. This one here says I can use all 3 tracks regardless of what's rolled on the die. This one here is a one-time use. In the future, I get to draft 2 of the dice rather than 1. This one here lets me take a die and turn it to any side I want. And there's various things like that. And then finally, you can deliver goods. So let's pretend I have this track built here, and you can see that here I have a level 3 engine, which means I can deliver a good 3 levels. So maybe I want to deliver a good to the red city. So if I start here, it would be 2 links to go there. I am 2 links high, I'm 3 actually. So I would just deliver this here, removing it from the board and scoring a point for each link. Scoring 2 points, you'll mark your points scored here. You can't deliver more links than it shows here, and you have to deliver to the color city that it's at. So maybe I want to take this gray cube instead and move it from the red city. It'd be 1, 2, 3. So I'd move the gray cube 1, 2, 3, delivering the gray cube to its area, and there I would get 3 points. When you do that though, the die that you use has to be the city that you're going to. So if I want to deliver to this city here, I would have to use a die that's a 4, which there isn't any at this point in time. That's pretty much what you're going to do over the course of the game. When there is all but 2 cities are deleted or depleted of cubes, Then there will be final scoring, and you'll get extra points based on how, if you fill your train higher than 3, you get an extra point for each of those. You get points for the bonus tiles you're holding on at the end of the game, and you add points here, plus you get bonus points for every city and or town that you have connected for each link between those. Most points is the winner. I told you there was optional modules. One of the optional modules is if you have to pull some cubes off because of the same color at the beginning of the game, you can instead put black cubes down, which are basically wild cubes. You can also give everyone a starting power at the beginning of the game. Like I can start with a level 1 engine, I can start with 2 points, I can start with a track of my choice anywhere. So that there's that module which you might as well play with. And you can also play with these tiles here, which means the first person to collect 2 blues and 2 green cubes can spend them and take 5 points. And these are double-sided, so they're going to be different each game. And these are ways to get bonus points. Then you can also make the game more difficult, where you can draw mountains on your board in this medium game, or draw these mountains on your board, and your train tracks aren't going to be able to go through those mountains, so it's just going to take longer to get things to where you want them to go. That's how you play. Well, there's no question they give you plenty of sheets here in this game. They're all full color. And any game like this with a roll and write thing, I think that's a big deal, and I really like that. You will have to watch, though, because you may have to turn your sheet upside down. And we found that if you're looking at the board upside down, it can be sometimes confusing, and so some players turn their sheet upside down. Not a huge deal. I mean, you just keep track of your engine this way, so it's not really that big of a deal to have your upside down, but just keep that in mind. The board itself is fine quality. These are okay. The tiles, they're fine, and the dice and the cubes. And everything is pretty good quality. It's exactly what you want. It comes with a little bag here to keep the cubes random at the beginning of the game, so before you put them out on the board. And there you have it. That is SteamRollers. Now, I really like this game for a lot of reasons. One, I tend to like roll and write games. I tend to like games where you roll things and use those because everyone's using the same things to come up to different options. Now this one is a little bit more interactive than most because you have only a certain number of cubes on the board, and you're both taking those special action tiles you might take from someone else to give you what you need. So there definitely is that interaction between the players. And I like that aspect of the game. I like that the map is pretty much the same map. You add those mountains in, and that makes a world of difference as to what you're doing each game. And every game's going to play out differently because the cubes are out there. Now, what I find fascinating about this game is it harkens back to a game called Age of Steam by Martin Wallace. Now, this game is not as complex as Age of Steam by far, but it gives me, in essence, it's Age of Steam, the dice game. It really is. And in fact, Age of Steam, while it has all these great grandiose strategies and things that you can do in it, this game satisfies that itch that I have to connect routes on the board. Yeah, I'm drawing them here on a piece of paper, and yeah, other players can't block me, but there's still that interaction with players as they take the dice I want or the tiles I want. It is essentially a race game as you are trying to take the numbers you need to get the track up there, and you're like, 3 seems never to be rolled, I'll take this tile here. I'm definitely going to get a 3 next turn, then a 3 is rolled. Or should you increase your engine first because you have to increase your engine to move it up those links? Or should you build the map out? Should you deliver some cubes 1 links maybe just to get a few points on the board or to get the cubes you need to get those order tiles? And by the way, no reason not to play the full game here. Definitely play with the order tiles, definitely play with the special starting things each player has, gives you a slight asymmetrical start to the game. Definitely play with the black cubes, the wild cubes, because it just makes it feel like a full, robust game. I don't see any reason, even people who've never played before, I just cannot imagine how you would not be able to grasp all these things. They're very, very simple. And when you use all 3 of those things, it just adds that much more flavor to the game and doesn't make it that complex. This is a 30-minute game, maybe a little bit longer depending on how much people are thoughtful, but it feels like you played a full-blown Euro-style game, and I enjoy that. There's a lot of train games out there, and this is in the top tier for me. It really is, because this game, yes, you're picking up goods and delivering them, and I don't care what color, and I don't know what all that means, and it's abstracted down to numbers and stuff, but that works. I still get the funness of seeing the tracks grow across the map, and you don't have enough time to build them to every city, so you want to get one maybe really good route from this city to that, and then move the stuff and use the tiles to get there. And right when the game is like, oh right, this is good, I'm getting stuff done, the game will end. It ends perfectly, it ends kind of at the climax of the game, and then you can play another game or go on. So high praise for me, really. SteamRollers, like I said, I kind of bypassed it because of that box. Going to show you that you should not judge a game by its cover. In this case, the cover, much prettier. But there's a gazillion train games out there. Can this one offer anything new? And the answer is yes. Dice Tower judgment approved.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.
Shut the door.